Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to Evan and Kyle's 100th episode of Radio Free Decipher. Now, this is a little bit different from when we did the 100th episode of Radio Free Decipher.
Right. Because originally when Radio Free Decipher first came around, it was not hosted by you and I.
No, it was not. In fact, there was a short period of time where it was kind of like past the host. It kind of, you know.
That's right. Francis did it in French, I believe.
He did the one and only RFD broadcast in French. We had various other Decipherians do it, but then we settled in, and here we are, 100 episodes later. Now, unlike the RFD 100, we're not going to give you bloopers this time.
That's right, because since then we have made no mistakes.
That's right. No, it's just that we have a lot of ground to cover today, and so bloopers, would put it into, because we actually make a ton of bloopers, so that would be about a 2-hour broadcast.
And we don't want to inflict that on all you.
What we do have coming up, first of all, Origins is over now, and a little bit of wrap-up related to that. We're going to bring you 2 interviews with John Lolli, who won the massive Lord of the Rings event there.
The Premier Series
event
in Origins.
And also an interview with Clint Hays, who placed top of the heap on day 1 out of a field of 193
That's right.
players.
Beat them all.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Spectacular.
So we're going to get the thoughts of both those guys coming up. Let's see. Anything else to be said about Origins?
Well, hello. The fact that Lord of the Rings won Best TCG of the Year
I was
2001.
trying to play it cool, dude.
Oh, I see. And the fact that they won Best Graphic Presentation of a card game.
2 big awards for us in that show, and we know that a lot of you guys out there voted for us, and we thank you for that.
That's right.
It was a nice bit of
It was a good Friday night.
It was a great Friday night.
And the presentation was really funny, too. I think that if anybody has the chance to go check out the Origins Awards next year.
Yeah, next year you should go.
They should, because it was very funny. Yeah. A lot of good insider, game community jokes and fun that, I think that a lot of people would be able to get, So yay!
We are now the award-winning Lord of the Rings trading card game.
That's right.
I like it.
Many awards it won.
The Nigel.
It won the Nigel D. Finley Award.
It won from Inquest Magazine.
Game of the Year 2001 from Inquest. It won Best Movie-related card game of all time.
The multi-award-winning Lord of the Rings trading card game.
Whoa.
Very cool. So, yes, Origins was good to us.
They had lots of really fun things going on at Origins this year. It was a really, really good event. John Rhys Davies was on our booth, and that man, he is so good to the fans. You have no idea. Like, security was trying to kick out all these people, and John is like, no, they are staying here. They are staying here until I give every one of these people an autograph.
That's
and
cool.
Security's just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Right. And he was even like, well, if they do kick you guys out, then I'll follow you out into the hall and I'll sign your autograph.
Nice.
So, what a great guy.
He also presented the Game of the Year award, which unfortunately did not go to the Lord of the Rings TCG, but it's okay.
I heard rumors we were very close.
Yes.
We were very close.
Well, we'd like to think so.
Anyways, also, we had a great volunteer group there, and they did so much good work. We had all these programs that worked exceedingly efficient, that pulled people into our booth like crazy. We did not have enough people to do demos. There was almost at all times there was basically a wait to get a demo of Lord of the Rings.
I have nothing but good things to say about our volunteers this time. We had volunteers running tournaments that sometimes 13, 14, 15 hours at a stretch.
I got to say, Enrique Huerta did a fantastic job.
And also
on the
Kim Logie, who both helped with the Premier
and Jim Van Fleet as well.
Those guys, as you may or may not have known, the Saturday Day 2 event was untimed, and each of the 16 players in all of their games played a 2 out of 3 match.
That's right.
So,
one of the matches,
untimed.
One of the semifinal matches went basically for about 5 hours.
Yes, literally one match. One of the games in that match was about a 2.5, 3 hour game.
Yep.
Personally, I don't know. But anyway, but our volunteers were there from about 10 in the morning until nearly midnight.
And they always seem to have a smile on their face. They're having a good time and playing with, hanging out with people and talking and with people. And
Not
it was
to
really
be outdone, though. Like you said, the people who gave demos on our booth were really extraordinary, and I personally had an experience getting a demo of another. I demoed a lot of competitors' games at Origins. I went around the booth. Yes, I went around the room seeing what other people had, and one demo that I got stuck out in my mind. It was really a terrible demo.
Really?
I don't want to embarrass by saying who, but one of the many demos I got was just appallingly bad. I couldn't tell whether I liked the game or not or whatever. Just that they were awful. The demo was terrible. So I was very, very grateful to think that we had good people back on our booth taking care of us.
As a testament to how good our volunteers did with demos at Origins, we had a sealed deck tournament on like Saturday night of the convention,
right?
And it had huge numbers because all of these people that were getting demos joined in this tournament. So like almost half of, I don't think half, but like a third of the entire field were brand new people.
That is very
to the game.
significant.
So that's just awesome. These, they made sure they had a great time. So I could go on and on and on about Origins, but we have two interviews, and we've got some Star Trek news.
Yes. If you have not seen it yesterday, come out of the cave. We have announced the Star Trek CCG 2nd edition. There is a lot of news that's pretty well related in the article, but I'll sum it up here in case they're, in an effort to attempt to clarify here. The new Star Trek game that has been publicly tested all along here is now sort of going to be put on hold. It's not dead by any means, but we are no longer actively working on it. It's something that we'll still pursue when we have free time, and you don't know our schedules to know that we don't get a lot of free time, but it's still there. It's on a shelf, and will be potentially looked at on a later date, but for now, 100% of our in-house Star Trek efforts are geared toward the Star Trek 2nd edition. That is going to be a revamping of the original game. It will involve some reprinting and updating of existing cards. Basically, starting with the next set and moving forward, everything we print will be 2nd edition. There will be some cards that get printed with some kind of mark on them. We don't know exactly what, that specific card will work retroactively to the 1st edition rules. Now, that's going to be a percentage of each set, and I can't tell you how many. It's hard to say, but most of the cards will be 2nd edition only. I think that's likely.
Well, I know this may be a little premature, but how big do you think the initial 2nd edition set will be?
It is a little too early to tell because we're actually discussing several different product configurations for it besides just the standard starter booster. We're considering some other options, but it's not going to be just a 121, 130 or whatever it is. It is going to be larger than that, but whether it's going to be a 201 like Voyager or a 363 like Premier or who knows what else. We've done every set size under the sun for Star Trek, it seems like. Deep Space Nine was 276 or something like that. So anyway, it's going to be larger than the standard set, but really it is way too early to tell exactly what the size will be. And we really can't answer, what exactly is going to change. All I can tell you is that the same spirit of the game will be there. You're still going to play your people and get on ships and fly around the universe and attempt missions and overcome dilemmas, and that's all going to be pretty much intact. Beyond that, I really can't tell you.
How you do that may change.
Yes, the card backs will be the same. I can tell you that.
Interesting.
Because that will grease the retroactive compatibility for the 1st edition, of course. Beyond that, it could mean some template changes for the fronts. It could not. It could mean, dozens and dozens of things. The scope of this, if you read the design log entry that Kathy McCracken put up yesterday, I hope that conveys some of the scope of what we have to do. We have to go through every one of the 2,300 plus cards and look at it and determine, should it come, should it not, does it need to be rewritten, why does it need to be written. Then we have to go through the 70-plus page glossary, look at all the entries, why is this here, how did it get here, how can we simplify it, does it need to be simplified, do people get this, what does this do for the game, etc.
Sounds like you don't have much time for Warcraft 3 this weekend.
No, I'm afraid I don't. And then we also have to consider all the feedback that have come from our volunteers, from retailers, over the years, people who have demoed the game and tried for all this time to get people to play, and what they have found the big obstacles to be, why players say they leave the game, why they say, this looks interesting, but no thanks, so that we can try and fix those things. So it's a war on many, many fronts, and unfortunately you can't just do any one piece of it first. It all has to go simultaneously. So no, my Warcraft 3 time is going to be somewhat limited. So there you have it, Star Trek 2nd Edition.
That's good news. I think that's
it is very good
people
news.
Really excited. So.
Yeah, there's already been a huge number, a large number of posts on our board that have had various things to say about it. I've actually received a lot of private emails about it as well, too. Stop that. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. So there you have it, 2nd Edition.
Good stuff.
Now, any other news to take care of before we go to the interviews?
I think we should call these guys up and see what they have to say about their big, wins this weekend.
Okay.
Clint Hays took 3rd, John Lolli took 1st. So
on day
one. That's right.
Clint Hays took 1st on day 1.
Right. So John Lolli walked away with this with a $2,500 paycheck
and the gold ring.
And Clint Hays walked away with this $600 richer with a silver ring.
That's quite nice.
It's very nice.
I didn't bring home a ring from Origins.
Yeah, I did, but I brought it there too, so I'm just bringing it back.
Okay.
So anyways...
so I've done enough talking, so I'm going to rest my voice. You get to do the interviews.
All right.
Nice.
I'm going to go ahead and get John on the phone, and we'll start it up.
Okay.
All right, and now we've got John Lolli on the phone. How you doing, John?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Great. Well, congratulations again. You won the first of the DGMA Premier Series tournaments at Origins this past weekend. How you feeling about that?
Very happy, Kyle. Thank you. It was a wonderful event, and I was very happy to end up winning it.
Yeah. Now, give us a little bit of background about yourself. What games you've been playing, and what brought you to this event this weekend?
Sure. Probably the game I've been playing the longest was the Star Wars CCG by Decipher. I played that for about 5 to 6 years. The last time I played it competitively was in 2000, winning the Coruscant Regional for Star Wars. And
you played at DecipherCon 2000?
Absolutely. Played in the World Championships that year.
How'd you do down there?
I think I finished 19th.
Just
only
missing day 3, huh?
Top 16 made it, so it was close. From there, I probably went right into Lord of the Rings maybe a year later after just a small hiatus.
Did you start playing Lord of the Rings when it first came out?
Absolutely, yeah. I was one of the first product champions to sign up with Kyle, so right when
with
it first came out. With Kevin, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll take the props, man.
Yeah, it was you that got me in.
Well, cool. So you're a product champion for Lord of the Rings. That's great.
That I am.
And so now you're getting ready for the tournament. What did you do to prepare for this tournament in Columbus, Ohio?
Well, the weekend before was the Delaware Territorial, and I ended up winning that one. So I was pretty determined to use the same deck since it had been successful in a 30 to 35 person tournament.
What was your record there?
I was 6-1.
Oh, that's good.
And then the final confrontation was just one game, and won that one. And that was good because the previous 2 territorials weren't as successful for me, so I was very happy to end on a good note there.
Good.
Gave me some confidence with the deck.
Good. And you're married.
That I am.
What did your wife think about all this?
She wasn't too excited about Delaware because that meant I'd be away in November for DecipherCon. But it did convince her that at least I had a chance in Ohio, and was if she could see some money out of it, it would certainly be worth the trip. So
right,
it went a long way to convincing her to going.
You were telling me that leading up to during day 2, you kept calling her throughout the day. Like, walk us through all that.
Okay. The first round, I was a little concerned because I was playing the person who beat me as bad as possible the day earlier. That was Clay Wilburn. And he won the first game in best out of 3. and I thought it was going to be a difficult phone call, but I ended up making it up and winning the next two, and called her and said, "Hey, hun, at least I got $125." And at that point, I was pretty much set because that would cover the cost of the trip at that point. So she was pretty happy. Later on in the second round, I ended up winning 2-0 and calling and say, "Hun, well, I got a little spending money now. I have $400 at least." And after that, then it really started getting serious because the next round, of course, winning that round guaranteed me $1,000 and that I'd be in the finals. So now she was starting to get a little nervous and wondering what was going on, and actually started calling me in between rounds to see how it was going. But then finally called her at the end of the day and said, "Hun, I actually did it. It was really worth the trip out here for the 2,500." So it was great, and she was very excited the whole day. She was actually at her parents' house, and my in-laws actually understand why I play cards now. So
that's perfect.
That was fun.
Now tell us, to follow that whole story up, now what are you going to do with all the money that you won?
Well, I'm planning on taking her back to the Bahamas where we had our honeymoon, and we were going to go for maybe 2 or 3 days, but now we'll probably make a week out of it at least.
Awesome, man.
Enjoy that.
Awesome. And what about some of the other shows this summer, like San Diego, the Premier Series there, and Gen Con and stuff like that?
I actually started talking to people about San Diego, at least a place to stay with someone, looking into airfare. It's going to depend on money, really, obviously. I'd like to have some of the 2,500 left over to go, but that's probably going to get spent. But it's hard to say. San Diego is definitely a possibility. Decipher Con is a definite in November. Gen Con I know I can't make. I've got previous commitments that week. But San Diego is a possibility.
Great.
And definitely Decipher Con.
Good stuff. Now tell us a little bit about the decks that you saw that day and what kind of a deck you were playing on both day 1 and day 2.
Okay. Day 1 actually started out very badly for me. I started out 0-2.
Wow.
I played Peter Sundom, who was, after I found out, somewhere in the top 12 in the world at that point. So that really wasn't a favorable matchup for me first round. Second round was actually Clay Wilburn again, that same name that popped up earlier. He had the White Arrows mirror-to-mirror shoulder deck with Sauron discard as well. And I had never seen anything like that in almost probably 10 months that I've been playing. I hadn't seen a deck anything like that. And it really, baffled me in the game. And 0-2, I started wondering, okay, it's not going to be long before I drop in this one. So that White Arrows mirror-to-mirror shoulder deck was devastating. And after that, I really ran into just some lucky opponents where they were playing more straightforward decks, and ended up winning those 6 games. I was playing a Sam-based deck where Sam did most of the work for me. I had some directed archery, and I was using Sam as my ring bearer to go defender +1 or +2 and pass some minions away. So the more straightforward decks is what it was really geared to beat, and that's luckily what I found in the last 6 rounds.
Good stuff.
Day 2 was a little nerve-wracking because I knew out of the 16 people who made it, at least 50% were playing large fellowship with mirror of some sort in it, not necessarily all shoulder-to-shoulder and White Arrows, but definitely big fellowship with mirror. So I basically sat up all night trying to figure out something new because I knew the deck I had couldn't handle it.
And you had to be kind of careful about that too, didn't you?
I had to be very careful about it because my roommate at the time, Clint Hays, finished first, and the night before they had told me that I was 16th, which would make us first-round matchup 1 versus 16. So we actually had to go down to the lounge. We both went down and worked in separate parts of it to come up with something. And it's a shame because normally, we're friends. We could have worked together on something. But
right.
Unfortunately, we had to go our separate ways there and do what was best for each other. Until the morning, we found out we weren't matched up anyway. So unfortunately, we could have worked together, but it probably worked out better for me that way that we didn't.
Because you had to face him in the third round.
In the third round, the semifinals, exactly. And I played a deck very similar to his first, second, third, and fourth round, all 4. So it worked out well that I was building a deck specifically designed to try and beat his. I figured, at least if I can get through the first round by beating him, I could, hopefully make up for it the rest of the way and find a way to win. But I was lucky enough to face the same basic deck features 4 times. So.
Now, your deck is going to be up on DGMA in the near future so that people can take a look at what you were doing, but why don't you describe for us a little bit about what you were doing in your deck to combat the mirror white arrows shoulder-to-shoulder decks?
Okay, absolutely. It was it was designed to beat white arrows shoulder-to-shoulder and mirror. Two of those are elven conditions, shoulder-to-shoulder and white arrows, so Goblin Scrabblers was a big part of it. I put 3 Goblin Scrabblers in the deck, which of course takes out an elven condition. There are probably somewhere between 6 to 10 allies in the deck as well, so I put in 2 Tower Assassins to try and handle those. And of course the ever-devastating mirror, I put 4 No Business of Ours in to try and keep the cards that I needed in my hand so that they couldn't be mirrored away. Probably the most important part of the deck was the recursion, which is a magic term that I'm going back to, which is basically just pulling minions out of your lost pile.
Right. So you could go and keep getting the Scrabblers over and over.
Exactly. I used Eulair Nikea, the Nazgul that pulls back minions for every companion over 4 that you can spot, and Urk Captains to bring back some high-cost Uruk-hai like Lurtz and the troops. So between the recursion, the Tower Assassins, the Scrabblers, and the No Business of Ours, that was really, they were all just designed to handle those types of fellowships. But the rest of the deck was just basically some high-cost Nazgul. Obviously, Nkea was also key because once they have once they have 6 companions or more, you can start assigning wounds where you need them. So the deck was really designed to beat that, and quite frankly, not a lot else. But on that type of day when everybody was playing the same virtual deck, it was just a trick.
It worked.
Yes, it did.
It worked. So now going into the tournament, obviously you hear big names every once in a while. Who were you going into the tournament thinking were the big guns that you had to look out for?
People actually that I played with previously. Obviously, Clint was on the top of everybody's mind. I think Gabe Alonso, Mike Dalton, Alex Tennant, all of those guys were really strong Star Wars / Magic / CCG players.
And Alex won the 70-player tournament on Thursday.
He sure did, and honestly, I talked to Alex a lot online about decks and things, and he's probably the most creative deck builder that I know. So. And Gabe had won a DPC earlier in the year, and and obviously Clint's won everything under the sun. So those guys were a big worry. If I had known some of the other big names were there, like Peter and Clay and so forth, it would have been even more intimidating. I didn't even realize that how many of the big name players were there in terms of ratings for Lord of the Rings.
That's right. Well, like I said, congratulations. Everybody here at Decipher is very happy for you, and we look forward to seeing you not only at DecipherCon, but hopefully some of the other shows like possibly San Diego and, who knows, maybe even Essen, Germany. So.
That's true. I didn't even think of Essen, but if I can get my rating up, I'd probably try to make a trip out there as well as part of the World Cup. That would be great.
That would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thanks so much, John,
Thank you
for coming on Radio Free Decipher. I'm sure all the listeners out there really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
Wow, lots of great information from John. What a nice guy.
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
Taking his wife to the
know.
Bahamas.
Well, good man.
Yeah,
that's the right thing to
got
do
some
for a married man.
Right. He's got some priorities straight. So, well, that was really good, and thank you very much, John. And let's just move right on, and we'll get a hold of Clint and see what he has to say. And I think we're going to see a little bit of contrasting styles, maybe, because Clint's a really funny guy, and he gets straight to the point.
He's a funny guy, but he's a man of few words.
That's right, he is. So bear with me if I struggle through this interview. All right, going to call up Clint.
All right, now we got Clint Hays on the phone. How you doing, Mr. Hays?
Pretty good. What's going on?
Doing an interview, man. We talked to John Lolli just a little bit ago about his experiences and stuff, and we also wanted to talk to you because you won day one of the Premier Series Origins, the 193-player tournament. It's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, I guess pretty much got lucky on the first day ended up playing a lot of people who did well.
Lucky, man. I heard that your deck was just dominant.
Yeah, it was a pretty good deck. I didn't come up with it. A couple of guys from Alabama did, and
really?
They played it at the Atlanta Territorial, and I saw them playing it, and I was just like, man, that's the best deck I've ever seen. So I put it together and played a few games with it, and I was decking people at Site 6. So.
Jeez, who were the people that came up with it?
The fellowship actually the whole fellowship was made by Ben Lacey.
Oh, right on.
And they had been playing it for a couple weeks, and then Etheridge Englehart decided, let's play with Uriks and Urik Ragers. Let's make them overturn cards during Shadow Phase. So it just worked. I don't know. It's one of those things.
Well, right on. Yeah. The talk of the tournament was basically the decks that you guys were running. What and I know that was it Ben Lacey that also made it into day 2?
Yeah, Ben Lacey also made it.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big testament to the strength of the deck. And I know that basically about half the people playing in day 2 were playing that style of deck.
Right, Big Fellowship was pretty huge.
Big Fellowship, was it?
Yeah, Big Fellowship. A lot of people were playing it.
Right. Well, I think your deck list is going to be up pretty soon on dgma.com, so people will be able to take a look at it. In addition, they're going to see John Lolli's deck, who he pretty much on day 2 teched to beat your style of deck.
Right.
So now, John was telling us that you guys were actually roommates. How difficult was that?
Well, I didn't stay. I stayed with them after day 1. So I didn't actually see what he was building, and he never actually looked at my deck or anything. It was just like I went to sleep, and he stayed up all night long and built this deck. And the next day, I got this deck, and I was like, all right, whatever. And then he had all the answers.
Yeah. Well, tell us about day 1 some more, because that was a massive tournament, and you are kind of getting a reputation of being Mr. Origins now. What all tournaments have you been successful with at Origins? I mean, you've won quite a bit now, right?
Yeah, I won in 1999. I won the Open
for Star Wars.
For Star Wars, and then in 2000 I didn't get to play because you guys made the little rule that you can't play if you already won. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was being nice that year, and I let Joe Allred win for me. So. And then last year I won. I also won the Star Wars Open. And then the next day I won a tournament for Raw Deal, which was like 100 people. And then, of course, this year the 193 people Lord of the Rings tournament.
Man, so tell us about the ad that you're going to take out. I heard about this.
It wasn't my idea, but Pete Flamini decided that we're going to take an ad out in the Origins book next year saying something like, why are you guys even here? I'm going to win anyway. Or I thought it was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. So we're going to take up a collection and try and see if we can get that accomplished?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm thinking like $1 a person ought to do it.
Yeah, that's great, man. Tell us a little bit about what kind of decks you were seeing on day 1.
Well, mostly it was Urukai and like a few Moria. It was all I played. I didn't play anybody playing Nazgul or Sauron or anything like that.
Was there splashes at all? Like maybe, like a Witch King in there or an Ikea in there or something?
Usually it was like an Ikea or a Tower Assassin or something like that. There was maybe a Balrog. But I didn't see much of just, random big dude here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Fellowships there was a lot of different stuff.
Really?
From like Hobbits, I played against Hobbits, and then some guy played 2 Deft in Their Movements on me in one site. And
what was the deck that beat you on day 1? I'm sorry?
He had 4 Dear Friends in his deck or something like this.
Wow. What was the deck that beat you on day 1?
It was that guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He put out Gift of Boats at Site 6, and I didn't draw any minions, so he just ran right in on me.
Ouch. Still 7-1, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was getting pretty good draws all day.
Good stuff. Tell us a little bit about the play style back home where you're from. Now you're from in Tennessee. What part?
Right now I live in Nashville.
Okay. And what's the play style like there? What are people playing, and where do you play usually, and stuff like that?
People play a lot of different stuff. Basically, there's like a few people who pretty much decide what they're all going to play, and they usually play pretty much the same decks. So it's usually Gandalf start is pretty big here, where you just run Gandalf and all the Gandalf cards, and then a bunch of just whatever companions, And then Uriks, a lot of people play Uriks, and then they'll play Nazgul, just Nazgul to stop you early so they can get ahead, and then whatever.
Right on. Good stuff. Where do you usually play? What's the store name?
The store that I usually play at is called Outer Limits.
Okay. Cool.
It's in Franklin, Tennessee.
Good plug for them.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to out of Realms of the Elf Lords? You going to try some Palantir?
You know, I'm not really sure that I'm even going to use that card. I haven't decided if I like it or not. I really like the Tower of Vorthink, though.
Really?
That card is going to be brutal. The Uruks, of course, almost all the time you see guys exhausted, so you drop a couple of those down, and that's a lot more pool you can do stuff with.
Good stuff. What? So you think you're going to go right in and start building some decks off of that strategy?
I don't know that I'll change a whole lot of stuff. Right now, I looked at all the cards, and it's looking like you can pretty much do the same stuff that you were before. The errata, of course, of the Thor's map and Arranger's versatility, that changes things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really sure like what new decks come out. I haven't played in a tournament yet, so.
Well, I think the cards became legal on just this past Wednesday. So.
Right. I saw the tournament Sunday at Origins, and it looked like a lot of people were playing Ranger Choke with the new Aragorn.
I see. For those of you listening, the tournament on Sunday at Origins, Realms of the Elf Lords, they made it legal just for that one tournament. So people were playing all kinds of crazy stuff. So Ranger Choke, huh? You saw that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously people are going to want to play with the main new cards. So I don't know if that was just let's play it and see how good it is, or if that was this is good, let's win a tournament or whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for all the information. Again, are we going to see you in San Diego or at Gen Con?
I think I'm coming to San Diego.
Right on. Good man. And Gen Con too? Continentals?
No, I can't make it to that one.
Ah, interesting. All right. What about the World Cup and the Premier Series in Essen?
The World Cup, I'm hopeful. If I can't make the top 3, at least be in the top 100 and maybe get my name drawn out of a hat.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
That's going to be really interesting. So, well, good luck to you, and we'll see you in 3 weeks in San Diego.
Yep.
And good luck to you, and
right, thanks.
Start practicing.
I need to.
All right. Thanks, Clint.
All right.
Bye.
Not bad. This is your half hour plus.
I can't wait to see that interview. Or I'm sorry, the ad. The ad in the Origins convention booklet next year. I hope that he does it, because that's just too funny.
I hope they actually let him run it. I mean, I wonder what restrictions they have on putting ads.
Yeah, who knows? I think that's just hilarious. So
why are you even here?
Yeah. Good job, Clint.
Congratulations to both John and Clint and all the others who placed well and crossed to day 2. There were 16 very high caliber players there.
That's right.
Again, thank you to all the volunteers who helped us at Origins, and we will look forward to San Diego in a few weeks.
And Evan, congratulations to you, 100 RFDs.
Yeah, thanks. Congratulations, Kyle.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So until next week,
101.
Take care.